What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is MrHurriicane, and again today going through some Madden 18 news from the EA Sports website. We're talking blocking in this one. The article is linked down below in the description if you wish to follow along, and if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button for more Madden 18 news. And of course, I'll be talking about the game a lot when it comes out, and talking about what I want to see from the next installment from Madden after we see what is in Madden 18. Now, this article today has a lot of big blocks of text, but we're still going to go through it and see what is up with blocking in Madden 18. I will be reading through the article and giving my thoughts as we go. So let's get started. Players have asked for a variety of improvements in the trenches, and Madden NFL 18 delivers. Our focus was providing tools to the players so adjustments could be made easily to counter opponents' tendencies and increase variety in defensive play calling and disguising. There was also a heavy emphasis on player and unit ratings. Below are some highlights of the OLine D-line interaction feature set. One of the first things we learned about Madden 18 was the feature they lead with here, IDing the mic. One of the most common pieces of feedback we received from the community was, if I know my opponent is blitzing and I know who's going to come free, give me the tools to adjust the blocking to pick it up. Thus, ID the mic was born. Now, they add some context here before getting into what this feature does. While most NFL teams have a variety of different pass protection schemes, we currently take rules from all of them and have a hybrid pass protection philosophy, built primarily upon base protection rules. This scheme adapts on the fly to account for all defensive alignments, different protection adjustments such as slide protection and play action protection, as well as updating the rules dynamically to account for blockers being added or taken out of the protection via hot routes and audibles. What is base protection? Base simply means the 5 offensive linemen will target the 4 down defensive linemen plus the Mike linebacker. The Mike being the second defender off the ball from the strong side, not necessarily always the middle linebacker. When extra blockers are added, like running backs or tight ends, they will then be responsible for the Will, the weak side linebacker, and or the Sam, strong side linebacker. If slide protection is used, then the offensive line will shift their targeting to either the Will or Sam based on the direction chosen by the user, while the running backs, when they are in the protection, will then block the Mike. What ID the mic does is allow the users to take this base protection and choose any defender on the field as the mic or the 5th target of the offensive line. It's essentially a spotlight tool that allows the player to direct pass protection to any defender on the field and treat that player as the mic using our base protection principles. How's it work? If you think the nickel is blitzing and the middle linebacker is dropping into coverage, open up the pass protection adjustments menu in pre-play by using left bumper or L1 and hit the A or X button to ID the mic. Then move the M icon with the left stick or D-pad to the nickel who is showing blitz and lock it in with another A or X press. You've now set your protection to account for the most dangerous threats on the line of scrimmage, plus the defender you believe is rushing. Note this only works on passing plays, but can also be used on running plays to bluff your opponent. So what they're talking about there is you'll obviously probably see the quarterback, point out who the mic is. You can use it on a running play to just disguise whether you're running or passing and keep your opponent guessing. Using this tool, however, does carry risk. If you're wrong and you direct your protection to the opposite side of the actual pressure, you carry a very high risk of getting sacked by an unblocked rusher who you have not accounted for. The ID the mic feature brings a whole new level of strategy to defensive play calling, forcing players to disguise their pressures and use a variety of alignments and play calls to keep the offense guessing. All this while meeting the community's response for pass protection tools to pick up any blitz the defense can throw at you. I am really excited to see how this plays out. It's great that if you see the rush, you now have better tools to adapt to where you think the pressure is going to be arriving from. On the flip side, when I'm playing defense this year, I think especially early on in user games, I'm going to be showing blitz on like every play, whether I'm blitzing or not. And I've come to really enjoy blitzing in recent years, especially in Madden 17. One of my favorite blitzes to use this year has actually been to just identify when I think it's a good time to blitz my safety on the edge, and then in that situation I can show blitz and you're not sure if it's going to be a linebacker coming through or a safety off the edge. So that's one I'll be using very early in Madden 18. Not sure if it's going to work, but it works in my head. Offensive line unit awareness, in addition to new pass protection tools. Another common ask is about offensive line chemistry and awareness as a unit. In Madden 18, the aggregate awareness of the whole O-line will now impact their ability to recognize and pick up blitzes. That to me is very interesting, especially if you have a couple weak links or if someone gets hurt. That is a big deal in football. I'm a Viking fan. Once again, I know how pass protection can completely crumble your season. It happens. The higher the average awareness rating of the offensive line as a unit, the better they will be at recognizing and reacting to blitzes that come up over the course of a game, including the always tough zone blitz schemes our players like to create by dropping defensive linemen into coverage while bringing heat off the edge. And that's basically describing what I was talking about earlier, except for I conduct those blitzes more with hot routes because I like them more. One of the things I do wonder though, and I think we'll still get some complaints, is missing blitzes, missing assignments is a part of football, but it really depends on the process. You can't be so result oriented. You have to look at how things occur. And if a player is looking at a defensive rusher and then looks away from him, that is an issue. I don't want to see this implemented to where offensive linemen are ignoring rushers they should be blocking and leaving the quarterback vulnerable, but there has to be a way that you can have offensive linemen make mental mistakes. Perhaps they try combo blocking a defensive tackle and the end is now unblocked as a result. That's what I'm talking about. And I think as players we have to accept those mental errors, especially from players who are lower rated. That is a part of football, and it needs to be there. This feature starts to activate when the average awareness score of the 5 offensive linemen reaches 80. The ability to recognize blitzes scales. An 80 rated O-line will be able to recognize heat about 5% of the time, whereas an O-line averaging 97 or higher in awareness will recognize the pressure on almost every single pass play. So having an offensive lineman like the Raiders or Cowboys have will be a big deal. And it won't be just enough, it seems, to have an average lower 80s overall offensive line. I mean, I think it's going to be a bigger deal this year to have a franchise left tackle and to pay the really good offensive lineman, whereas you might be okay in the past just rolling with whoever is in the mid to low 80s, playing a little bit cheaper. But I certainly like the sound of this. I'm all about authenticity, so my philosophy is that if the gameplay is authentic, the fun follows as a result of that. But that's just the way that I look at the game. I know not everybody does. But there's a catch. Any offensive lineman will tell you that the unit is only as good as its center. Thus, the center's awareness rating counts 2 times relative to everybody else. That is interesting. And his rating will modify the total average up or down by replacing the awareness rating of the lowest rated lineman in the unit. If you want your O-line to play together and recognize those heaters in protection, you're going to want to make sure you have that critical cog in the middle who can get his line mates on the same page. Don't have a bad center in Madden 18, basically is what this reads. Now, I don't like that it eliminates the awareness from your worst offensive lineman, because that guy should be a problem if he has like 65 awareness and he's some undrafted rookie. But I do like that the center is a little bit more important. I think that's a cool element, and we always hear about intangibles of that position being so important. So overall, I do like this unit awareness feature in the game. I think it is a very cool addition. This extends to running backs when in protection. While not being calculated as part of the O-line's awareness score, any pass blocking running back will have the same ability to recognize a blitz and react to it faster as his awareness score increases. Okay, so awareness will be important for the running backs. I like that. The unit awareness in Madden 18 will make it critical to pay up for the awareness rating and MUT salary cap, keep your O-line strong and MUT ranked and MUT draft, and to stay on top of awareness progression in franchise mode or suffer the consequences of having a unit that is not on the same page when picking up blitzes. I do like that awareness is going to be more important. I have not worried about that one as much when it comes to offensive linemen because you have such a small window when players are young to upgrade their pass and run block and impact blocking. And a lot of times I don't get around to awareness until a while has passed. But I like the sound of this rebalancing here with O-linemen. This is cool. Tuning and improvements. Okay, there's one thing I want to see from this article, and I'm going to see if they actually have it in here. Tuning and improvements. In response to a lot of valuable feedback from our players, we've made a whole host of other improvements on the blocking front to improve the gameplay experience and offer more balance in the trenches. Here's a quick rundown. Block sheds. Block shedding and disengages have been tuned with a heavy emphasis on ratings and scheme. In the past game, only edge rushers using a power move or finesse move with a rating of 90 or higher will have the ability for a super win when rushing on the edge, and the difference in those ratings compared to the blocker's pass block rating will determine the frequency of those wins. I wonder if this is talking about like insta sheds, which has become a major issue on Madden 17 after recent patches, and I've had to increase my pass blocking slider actually to 95. I played with an elite level offensive line in a fantasy series a couple months ago, and they weren't good unless I were to crank up the sliders to 95 on all Madden. I'm not sure if that's what this is talking about, but that sounds like a super win to me. In the run game, the matchup delta between the blocker and defender will determine both the speed at which a block shed can occur and the frequency. The tuning has been heavily weighted to favor elite players on both sides of the ball. However, the only time any outcome will be 100% is when a player has a 50-point advantage on either side. So there's always a rare chance of an elite player getting beat on occasion. Alright, so don't put out a 49 overall left tackle anywhere. Not gonna go well. The strength rating matters more than ever in Madden NFL 18. I'm happy to hear that. It now determines the defender's ability to disengage away from the blocker, not shed through the blocker. The difference in strength versus strength will determine when a defender can get out of the grasp of a blocker when wanting to move away from the blocker. For instance, if a running back is getting through a hole next to the lineman, obviously you're no longer trying to shed through upfield, you're trying to disengage and now move laterally and maybe even turn your hips a little bit. So that's where strength rating will now be a bigger factor. Impact blocking. With the addition of the blocking stick on offense and the blow-up submarine the blocker mechanic on defense, both offensive and defensive players will now be rated in the impact block category. That is interesting. This rating will be used in a formula with body weight and movement speed for both blockers and defenders to determine the outcomes of moving blocks when the blocker or defender is running faster than a jog speed. Okay, so I think we'll have a better idea of how useful impact blocking is going to be, and also now having a rating on defense will be very useful. Running the ball versus a weak box. In Madden 18, we've expanded our logic around defenses stopping the run when in sub-defenses, such as dime, dollar, and quarter. If the offense is in a run formation and running a hard ball downhill run play against a defense with very few defenders or a lot of defensive backs in the tackle box, the defense will now have a very hard time stopping the running play. In many cases, a lot of the defenders will end up getting pancaked. This also applies to the pass commit adjustment versus a running formation and when dropping defensive linemen into coverage against a running formation. So I know some have figured out how to get good run defense using various formations that normally would now work. So now hopefully those defensive backs are going to be laying on the turf. Running back pass blocking. The logic for pass blocking running backs has been updated to expand their ability to scan across the entire formation, as well as keeping them in the backfield longer so they will be less likely to attack targets at the line of scrimmage, giving them more time to react to more dangerous threats as they appear. And I certainly like this. They should play a little bit more passively and be ready for when a blitzer gets through, not try to join in blocking somewhere when they're not really needed there and they're not even going to be helping much against a big defensive lineman. I'm more so worried about nickel rushers off the edge and linebackers that might be blitzing through. So the bullet points here are improved logic for the running backs, lets them react to pass rushers who have shed the O-line, allows scanning. Running backs will be able to block unblocked players on either side of the formation, and adjusted tuning to cut blocking and block sheds with a heavy emphasis on the ratings matchup between the two players. I don't think running back blocking has ever been a major help, and actually max protect is something I have a big problem with. I'm still waiting for that key area that I'm hoping is addressed. Open field blocking and lead blockers. The logic for blockers in the open field has been improved, including wide receivers downfield, pulling blockers and lead blockers out of the backfield, and screen blockers. Added a new MDM, most dangerous man assignment for wide receivers on certain running plays, where they will target safeties or outside linebackers who have dropped into an overhang position down in or near the tackle box to join the run fit, instead of targeting the cornerback aligned over them. Okay, I like that. Make receivers more aggressive in finding blocks down the field in the run game and after pass completions. Improve logic for pulling blocks and lead blockers out of the backfield to retarget to less dangerous threats, and improving keeping them on their assigned path to block for the ball carrier, and improve logic for blockers out on screen plays to retarget less and be more decisive in going after their initial targets. And that wraps up the content of the article, and there were a lot of good things in here. I'm really excited to see a lot of these changes, but the major thing I was looking for wasn't addressed in this article. And my major problem with Madden blocking is actually with the tight end. A lot of times when I have a bad offensive line, which has been the case in my series, I want that tight end to help protect. And when you max protect or have them block, they don't add to the help at all. Because most of the time what happens is that your tight end is going to take on an edge rusher one-on-one. And he's going to lose because he's a tight end. It doesn't work. I want them to help and help combo block and chip. I don't want them one-on-one with anyone other than a blitzing cornerback or a safety. So I'm not sure if this has been addressed at all. I'll be testing it for sure because I use max protect a lot, especially when I want to go deep. But if the tight end is not useful, I'll continue to talk about that. But what did you think of the content within this article? I still am overall very excited about ID the mic and being able to hopefully have much more authentic blocking in the game. It all sounds good. We'll see how it plays. It'll be one thing that everybody needs to test and really get a feel for. So I'm looking forward to this part of the game. There are some really good gameplay changes this year for Madden 18, and I'm excited to dive into the game now that release is approaching. So please leave your feedback down below in the comment section. What did you think of the blocking news here for Madden 18? Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my playlist for more Madden 18 news. And I will see you all next time. Have a great day.